Staying focused for Jesus. Staying focused for Jesus.
How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Staying Focused for Jesus and
Women staying focused for Jesus. Yeah.
So we got the wife on this one. Let me let my seat up a little bit so I can get a little comfortable. We got the Prince in the back seat. He's asleep, which is good, so he won't be making a whole bunch of noise, and usually he doesn't. But I started to we're starting a new series, or whatever you want to call it, where we're going to be talking about marriages, or marriage, but you understand what I'm saying, relationships, different things that we've went through with relationships, past relationships, our present relationship, different things that we go through in regards to marriage in general. And this is the first official video of it. Can't get my words right. So if I'm kind of like everywhere is because we don't have a script that we're going by. It's a question I posed to her, and I told her don't give me her answer. And so the question that I posed was, what is the hardest thing about marriage? And so we're going to let her go first, and then I'm going to go afterwards, and then we'll probably get into some more stuff as some questions and stuff comes to my mind. So with that being said, you got the people listening. This is, you could say, the female pastor of Women Staying Focused for Jesus. She's not over men, so let's get that right. But she is the person that is over Women Staying Focused for Jesus, with me being over that and Christ being over Staying Focused for Jesus and Women Staying Focused for Jesus. You know how it goes. So let's get to it. Let's get to the good stuff.
So I'm going to answer that question with a question. What's the hardest part about marriage, or the hardest part about our marriage? Because everybody is different, and I can only speak for our marriage. If I say marriage, period, somebody will be like, well, my marriage, that ain't the hardest thing about me.
He's actually being devil's because of course we would be talking about our marriage.
Okay.
But since she said that, then we're gonna roll with that. We're gonna do a 2-part question then.
Okay.
Since she said it, we're gonna go with what's the hardest part about our marriage individually, and then we're gonna go with what is the perception that the world gives about what is the hardest thing about marriage and how we can correct that, since we are in Christ and we are married. So,
okay, so my opinion, the hardest part about marriage is finances. Like, people for some reason fight so much about finances. Money tears people apart, from what I've seen, and I don't necessarily agree with that as far as our marriage. I don't think the hardest part about our marriage is money.
So your response is, your first part of your response was in reference to what the world's perceptive of the hard thing about marriage is. Okay.
Yeah, agreeing on money, and that could be anything from bills. What's the priority? The husband might think, well, the priority is this. I don't know. What do men think is important? Cars, stuff. I don't know.
Image,
Right.
The facade of, I'm doing it. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody would agree that they like to drive nice cars or have nice things. So, a family, you have a wife and a child or children,
and not enough money. I think that's a big.
You can keep talking. I don't like the lightning right here, so I couldn't see.
That's a big problem. I think is not enough money. Like, there's not enough money for them to be happy, because their happiness is coming from material things. Their happiness is coming from what they got. We don't live in the kind of house we want to live in. We don't drive the kind of cars we want to drive. Our children don't go to the type of school we want them to go to. So bottom line is money. People, celebrities break up behind money. A lot of people problems is money. So that's what I would say the world's perception is.
And I would agree with that, because the Bible does tell us that the love of money is the root of all evil. And I don't think that we have a complete understanding of that. We hear it quoted all the time, but we don't actually, peer past, okay, what does this really mean? What's it really saying? You think about what people actually do for money, and then what they do when they get it. From my experience, when you get more money, you get more prideful.
Yes.
From a fleshly standpoint. Even when the Lord did bless us with more finance, I still had to bring my flesh into subjection. When we was I was driving like, going 3 or 4 times a week, and the checks were nice. And, it was like, yeah, what we want to do, we're going to go here, we're going to go here. So we was enjoying that. So even when that was happening, I still had to bring my flesh into subjection, because the flesh wants to do what the flesh wants to do. I couldn't just be like, oh yeah, I got some dollars coming in, and, the money looking good. And now all of a sudden, it's not going to be a struggle. It was also the same thing when the money stopped coming in, when, I wasn't getting any driving jobs, and that like cut all the finances, really, because that was a major part of our finances, was me driving and my wife also driving too. So we had both incomes coming in. And just to give you an example, I don't really hide anything about a lot of stuff, whatever. I share a lot, y'all know that, but meaning I'm not going to tell you all my personal business, everything, every intricate detail about my life and everything that's going on. But I'll tell y'all enough in regards to whatever the topic is. But when a Florida trip pays about $200 for us, about $220. So if both of us went, that would be almost $500 that we would be getting in our household. So there was a stint where we didn't go on any driving jobs for over a month. And you figure that if I go on 2 Miami trips, like we would literally go on, me more so, I would literally go on about 2 Miami trips a week. That's $400 something, almost $500 by myself. And then my wife, if I'm able to take her, if I was able to take her, I mean, that's a good little check that, you're making pretty much for a day and a half worth of work, and you get to go on vacation and stuff.
Right, and paid every week.
Yeah, it was an every week job, and then that it was like, yeah, then it boom, like it hit rock bottom, where we was pretty much we're still recovering from that.
Yeah, from not
getting jobs, because our income was attached to that, which it's the benefits of being self-employed, but at the same time, being self-employed, it has its perks, and it has its, as you can say, positive and negatives. And if you don't get any work, then you don't eat, literally.
Yeah. And we could have fell out behind that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the point I was getting to. That could have affected our marriage, but also for me personally, I had to be humble. I had to be humble too. Still had to be humble on that. So you got to be humble when the Lord blesses you with abundance, and you also got to be humble when you're in the valley, because you're like, yeah, I was here. I used to be the man, and a lot of you know my past. So my perception or my thinking of money, not even from a Christian standpoint, of course, that really instilled in me to not be pursuing these things or whatnot. They're just tools. But because of my past and me having money and stuff like that, I grew up riding around in Mercedes Benz when I was knee high, and I got pictures to prove that. So it's nothing I'm making up. My wife, she knows that too. I grew up in Mercedes Benz and Volvos and BMW and stuff like that, and it just, as the time went on, because of who my dad is and everything that he pursues, the cars just happen to get better over time. Compared to my wife, she would be considered, she would say, in comparison to how I grew up, she would have said that she grew up poor.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We didn't ever have nice cars. We had hoopties from for my whole life, from what I remember, I don't ever remember having a nice car. I remember us having multiple cars. Like my mama had her own car, my daddy had his, but they were some busted vehicles. Like I remember being ashamed to go to school sometimes. Not ashamed to go to school. I'd be ashamed for them to drop me off at school or pick me up. I'd catch the bus because I didn't want I didn't want my classmates to see what kind of car we had. But they eventually found out, and of course they talked about me. But you know, what can you do about it? You know, I was a child and couldn't do nothing about it. Just take the teasing and keep it moving. But I knew then, as a child, I knew like one day I'm not gonna have no raggedy car. I'm not gonna have no raggedy house. So I had it in my mind as a child that one day I'm gonna make sure that I'm not poor, because I didn't like getting teased and everything. I mean, now I'm grown and I've had pretty much everything I've wanted from back before I got saved. When I was in the Air Force, I lived a pretty nice lifestyle, and it's nothing. You know, once you had stuff, and I don't care no more. I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
Whatever. We can drive whatever. As long as it's running,
Yeah. I mean, we've had nice cars. We've had busted cars.
Yeah. I would say regular. I wouldn't say busted. Maybe most recent purchase.
Busted in
comparison to what we had. Yeah.
I mean, if you think of, yeah, you're right. I mean, it would really be all perception.
Right, perception.
Because, I wouldn't consider Big Betty, the truck I had, I wouldn't consider her busted, but in comparison to this vehicle, which is a pretty much brand new vehicle, you could say it's busted.
Right, or in comparison to the Camaro, you could say that the truck was busted in comparison to the Camaro.
Yeah, which, I don't even have that anymore. My brother now has a Camaro, and the reason that I got rid of that because I can't afford it anymore. Because remember we were telling you about the time we were driving and stuff and everything, and that money was pretty much helping to pay for the car payment. So it wasn't like, I'm gonna try to stick this in here. We had the money coming in and we need another vehicle, so I ended up getting her this vehicle that we're currently in, and then had more money coming in, and so I ended up trading my truck, selling it to them, the dealership which my dad works at and stuff, and then working out a pretty much an awesome deal. Let me add this too: it's not always about what you're spending. It's not always about the money. It's literally, I'm starting to learn more and more. I guess it's becoming more of a realization that it's about who you know. Because if you saw me driving around in Camaro, you'd be like, "Oh man, you paid a lot of money for that." When in essence, I didn't really pay what you think I paid for it, because of who my dad is. He's a used car sales manager for AutoNation. So it was a matter of him working the numbers and everything. It's all about numbers, and really it's all about who you know. So because he was in that position, I was able to benefit from that. But I got rid of it because I really can't afford it. And I guess you could say we're going through a different transition. We're doing different business stuff, which requires us to make more sacrifices, which meant for me to get rid of my car to, in essence, downgrade so I could have that extra income to put toward the business stuff that I'm doing, the business stuff that she's doing. She has some stuff that she's been working on and everything. But yeah.
Part 2 of the question?
Yeah, part 2. We go to part 2.
The hardest thing about our marriage.
This is personally. Speak personally, and then if you want to go full circle, then you.
I might have to pause it. I might be thinking for a minute. The hardest part about our marriage.
She's not ready.
I'm not ready because,
even though she had like
I had like
2
2 weeks, yeah, maybe 3 weeks to think about it. Because, okay, I'm just be honest. Our marriage is great. Our marriage is wonderful. And I'm not saying that, I can't think of anything that's hard about it.
Well, there will have to be some.
I know. Okay, when I think about like
difficulties, I understand what you're saying. It's like it's difficult to love in this world because of the surrounding circumstances, but it's not hard to love because of love dwelling in us. So it's not Let me see if I can discern.
Okay, I know. I think I thought about it now. I think the hardest thing about our marriage for me is
I don't know
that.
what you're gonna say.
No, I haven't told you because I just thought about it right now. Let me word this right because I don't want you to take it the wrong way.
Say it.
The losing my independence, my being what is it called? Not my identity, because I'm still me. You know, I haven't like lost my identity, you know. I've done that before actually in relationships where I wasn't even married to the guy. You know, I lost my identity with a boyfriend. But you know, everything that I was doing before, you know, when you're single, you can do whatever you want to do, right? Like, if I don't want to get up until 12, 1 o'clock, I don't have to. Well, being married, you can't do that. You know, you can't do that as a wife because that will, you know, you just can't. Like, I have to get up. Even before David was born, I can totally blame him now and say, well, of course I get up because of David. But even before that, you know, making sure that the house is clean, making sure the dishes are washed, you know, making sure that I got some food ready. Just, you know, a lot of things that I have to do now, and then things that he might want me to do. You know, I need you to do this, I need you to do that. You know, just being required to do things, to take care of duties as a wife that I didn't have to do before being single. Being single, you don't have to do anything. Nobody can't make you do anything. And not saying that he makes me do anything, he doesn't make me, but as a wife, you know, if I want my household to run smoothly and peacefully, if he asks me to do something, then I need to do it in love. And if I love him like I say I love him, I'm going to make sure he eats. I'm going to make sure the house is clean. I'm going to make sure things are taken care of. So the things that I have to do as a wife that I didn't have to do when I was single, to me, that's the hardest part. Just like, okay, I got to do this stuff and I got to do it. Not out of obligation, but I got to do it because I love him, because I don't want to suck as a wife. I don't want to suck as a mother. So I got to do it. You know, I got to do it, and not because I think he's going to go make a video saying my wife sucks because she didn't do blah, blah, blah. Like, I got to do it because I love him, because that's what I'm supposed to do. Like, I know what I'm supposed to do, and I got to do it. So to me, that's the hardest part. Like, just doing all the stuff that I didn't previously have to do, you know? And I'm not saying that it's hard. I'm just saying that it's a lot, you know, compared to being single. You think about when you're single. When you're single, you don't have to do anything. You literally, like, when I was in Hollywood, I was living in my RV and I was working as a teacher, and every dollar I made, I spent it on whatever I wanted to. Getting my hair done, buying clothes, blah, 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 blah. Well, now I'm a wife. I don't work. Well, I work from home, but I work like literally like an hour, maybe 3-4 hours a week. Like, I don't work enough to do anything as far as helping, really, for real. So the money that I make now, the little, you know, $100 every 2 weeks that I make now, compared to, I used to make maybe $1,500 every 2 weeks. I made a lot of money, you know, in Hollywood compared to now. So that's a big a big pay cut, you know, going from being single to being a wife. And so I would say that's probably the hardest part to me. Just, okay, now I gotta, you know, I'm under you. I'm not, I don't know how to explain it. Maybe you can explain it better than what I'm trying to say. Just not being that independent. But it wouldn't even feel right, honestly, for me to go back to be a wife and to try to do what I was doing before. Wouldn't feel right. It just wouldn't, because then I feel like I'm in charge, and that's just not gonna work. So I don't know. Does anything I said make sense?
I mean, it's not really for you to try to. I notice that women do that a lot. They explain themselves and they're like, does it make sense? I mean, I don't know. It may sound crazy.
Because I understand what I'm trying to say. I'll just make sure you understand what I'm trying to say. Like, do you get it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean, this is what I discerned from what she said. The hardest thing about being married is the bigger sacrifice that she had to make.
Thank you. See, that was so easy. He could have just answered it for me.
It required a bigger sacrifice, which in itself was hard, because she had already sacrificed to get to me, because she couldn't get to me unless she was in Christ. So that was a sacrifice in itself. But she had to even give more of herself to receive more of a blessing, because she would say that I'm a blessing.
Definitely.
And I would say that she's a blessing to me or whatnot. So it required her to sacrifice more. It required her to have more patience, because, you know, it says he who finds a good wife. So we know from a biblical perspective that the man is supposed to go out and find that good gift that God has for him. But it also requires patience on behalf of the woman, because it may be 30-something years, it may be 40 years. You know, a woman doesn't know, even the man doesn't know.
What, 30-some years? What,
Waiting
for a spouse?
Yeah, I mean, the totality of life. Of course, you're not looking for a husband when you're 2 or 3 years old,
Right.
but
yeah,
you look at the totality of the picture. Waiting all these years for a husband, because, you know, that's the way that God has structured it. So yeah, I understand what you're saying. It required more sacrifice, which ultimately has everything to do with the Lord. Lord, it's required more of you, which makes it hard, because you're like, oh, you know, but it's
But it's beautiful,
yes.
because of the preparation that the Lord had already taken me through before I had even met you. Like a lot of things, like moving back home. Like I wasn't living at home when I first got saved. I was in California. I was single by myself. And then I moved to Arkansas, where my parents were at and my grandmother was at. And I would literally every day, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm helping take care of my grandma, not like me solely, because there was other people there too. But I was doing a lot of things that I wasn't doing in California. I didn't have to do, you know, I didn't have to cook. Like I literally, if you ask some of my homegirls, you know, they would tell you, like, April, she's like, when I come to visit you in California, you didn't have any food that, you know, you could cook. I didn't. Like, my refrigerator was full of vegetables. I mean, not vegetables, full of fruits, like strawberries, plums, apples, pineapples, watermelon, stuff that you just eat right then and there, crackers and cheese. Like, you know, so because of how busy I was, I didn't really have time to be cooking like that. But that was cool because I was single. And then fast forward, moving to Arkansas with my parents and my grandmother, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm literally like nonstop the whole time I was there. And then I ended up getting 2 jobs as a cashier and a teacher. So I'm working like nonstop. And then the Lord brings my future husband into the picture. And also as a teacher, I'm teaching little children, like from, I guess you could say 6 weeks old up to 4 years old. And then I became like a full-time teacher where I had my own classroom teaching 2-year-olds. And so I had no idea that the Lord was preparing me for being a wife and a mother. But somebody at my job did tell me that. They were like, you know, this could be good preparation for you. And I thought about it. I was like, yeah, it could be. And then, you know, a year later, yeah, we got married. And so what was I saying? I was saying that yeah, it might be hard to sacrifice being single to being married and being a wife, but the Lord had prepared me. And that's one thing that if you're watching this and you are single or you're looking to be married, the preparation part is super duper important. It's super important. Not just, you know, Lord, send me a spouse, send me a spouse, send me a spouse. Like, you need to be praying, Lord, prepare me for a spouse. Because if he sends you one, you ain't ready, you're probably not going to see that person. Or if you do meet them, they're going to be like, well, they ain't ready, you know. So anyway, that's all I got.
I didn't expect that answer. I really didn't know what this, but I didn't give myself any expectations. I think she might be surprised at my answer. The hardest thing about marriage.
Wait, let me swallow.
The hardest thing about marriage
is me.
No,
I'm kidding.
Nah. See, she's gonna be shocked at my answer. She's probably gonna look at me on camera. The hardest thing about marriage.
Wait, marriage or our marriage?
Our marriage.
Okay.
I think we pretty much address from a worldly perspective. I think we both agree on that. As far as what the finances and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The hardest thing about marriage, about our marriage, for me is myself. See, is dealing with myself, because I know me, I understand me, and she's still learning me, and I'm still learning her. And I say that because
you know me pretty well, though.
It's
scary. It's scary, like how well he knows me, and we only been married for 2 years.
I mean, it's because I also have the gift of discernment, so it's kind of like an advantage.
Right. It's like we got married and I came with a pamphlet, a book or something. Like he always figured me out, and I don't even know how he did that. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, the hardest part about our marriage is dealing with myself because of, kind of like ties back to what you said. Interesting, just thinking about it. What it requires. And I'm demanding of myself because the Lord is demanding of me because I want to be used by the Lord. And she'll tell you that, like, I ask for a lot, but the stuff that I ask for, it's not like I'm asking for it in vain. I'm asking for it because I see a bigger purpose for it. So I'm hard on myself because I want to make sure that I'm giving my full effort, not only in the Lord, but also in our marriage, which is in the Lord. And so I can be demanding of her, and I have to find the right, I wouldn't say balance, but I guess you could use that word. Sometimes my demanding can get fleshly, and I may say something in a way that's not spiritual. It's not motivated by love. My intent may for it to be that way, but it may not come out that way because I've gotten in the flesh. And so through the marriage, I've had to, do what she has been praying for me to be more patient. I told y'all, patience isn't my strongest suit. Be more patient, be more gracious, because it's like I'm in the seat of Christ, and I'm not saying that I'm Christ. Understand what I'm saying? I'm in the seat of Christ, and she is in the seat of me. Meaning, when I look at her, I have to look at her in essence of how Christ looks at me. In the same way.
The head and me being the body, like the body of Christ.
Yeah.
The bride. Yeah.
Perfect example. So, with me being the head and everything, I have to make decisions that she may not always agree with, or I have to, or make decisions because she may not be able to see what I can see. In the same way that it prepared how I treat her, it also prepared me for how to treat my son. So I have to balance or bring into subjection my flesh more to meet the requirements that God has given me to meet, as far as being a preacher, being a teacher, being a husband, being a father,
A businessman,
being a businessman. I know a lot of stuff on my plate. Y'all, some of y'all know that because you email me and say, hey, I know you got a lot on your plate, blase. But I always try to make time to talk to the people. I always try to make time to talk to y'all. I don't always get back with the emails immediately because I do have a lot going on. It's not that I'm purposely ignoring y'all, but I'm also, you got to remember that I'm also going through my growth process too, as I'm growing as you're growing. So I'm making mistakes. I'm learning how to do things differently and whatnot, through the Spirit. So the hardest thing again for me in our marriage is dealing with myself. Because I know how I am. She makes it easier because she doesn't, when she sees that I'm going through something or I'm in my moment or whatever, she isn't lashing back. She goes into prayer mode and she sends up praying, and the Lord come and give me a 2-piece with a biscuit. Get it right. You better, you know what I'm saying? That conviction sets in. So me being married to her, it helps for my job to be easier. So she would think that the hardest part is her, but in all actuality, the hardest part for me is me dealing with me because I know how I am. But she helps me to deal with myself, so I can be the person that God has called me to be. So I can be the person that y'all need me to be the person that she needs me to be the person that my son needs me to be, and just be the person that the world needs me to be. Because people that are lost don't know that they need you. But in essence, in reality, we all need each other. We're not independent. We're independent, but we're not independent from each other. We all need each other. I need my wife. Didn't know it before, but now I have a bigger picture. One of the main reasons the Lord wanted me to get married is so that I could grow as a man, so I can have a deeper understanding of family and how God really sees family and what it really means to him. So I can through us having a son, my relationship with Christ has deepened that much more, because David is literally me, not just for my seed, but I'm like, I learned so many lessons just by looking at him. Like, oh, I see what you're saying, Lord. That's me right there. Then, you know what I'm saying, he's learning, he's growing, he's experiencing stuff more. You know, he get popped because the boy is intelligent. The boy is smart. He's smart. And that's just not for me saying it because I'm biased because of my son. But that's from other people too, you know, saying that and everything. Like, I don't know the difference because this is my first child. So I'm like, well, this is what I expect. So in the same way I expect him to be smart, when people say, oh, he's smart for his age. I'm like, well, that's what I expect. God is the same way. Well, this is what I expect from you. This is what I expect from you or whatnot. So, you know, I literally see myself in essence of, I mean, in a sense of, like me as a Christian growing. It's like I'm living my growth as a baby Christian up into, you know, I can't really say the point now, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Through him, it's like it's being replayed. And so the lessons that I didn't learn, I'm now getting a better understanding of those lessons through him. Oh, you may have missed this lesson on mercy, but I'm going to teach you more mercy through your son, because guess what? He's 18, 19 months years old. I can't drop the hammer on him at 19 months year old. 19 months old, I can't drop the hammer on him. But I can, hey, let me come talk to you. Like when I talk to him, the boy understands. He listens. He knows like, no, don't you don't do that. Like, you know, he get the hands and like, boy, who you think you hitting? Like he'll get mad and stuff like that, and I have to correct that. And so, but I can't be like, boy, bah, you know what I'm saying? That's what he's 19 months old. 19, he won't still want to say that. He's 19 months old. So I mean, what's that gonna do if I did that? If I, you know, backhand him, you know, that's not love. Now if he get older, you know, he grown and we tussling and whatnot, then that's a different story. We ain't there yet. But I have to have more mercy to him because he's younger, so he's growing up. So through him, I'm learning more mercy. Through my wife, I'm learning more mercy. I'm learning more grace. I'm learning more patience, because y'all, you know, if you got children out, you know you got to be patient. But more so if you have children, you definitely know you got to be that much more patient. So, I mean, again, the hardest thing to deal with is in our marriages is myself. So hopefully y'all understand what I'm saying. Not like, oh my gosh, he's a bad husband, and I treat my wife as the queen she is.
He does.
But yeah.
I thank the Lord for you.
Thank you for you too.
David just woke up, by the way. But I think he's still sleepy. I think he just woke up because we're sitting still.
Yeah, and it's kind of hot.
And it's hot in here. I did want to make another point that's probably hard. I don't know if this is number one, number two, but a very hard thing in marriages today, and it's probably been since the beginning. You know, I'm not gonna say it's a new thing because there's nothing new under the sun. But sin is probably the biggest reason for failed marriages. You know, sin on either part, husband, wife. You know, speaking from a wife perspective, wives can cause their marriages to fail from not submitting, you know. And I think even before that, even before
eat means food. Eat means breast milk.
Yes, yeah. One eat.
He says food too. But.
Yeah, if he wants food, he'll say food. But if he says eat or eat, he's talking breastfeeding. But what was I saying? Sin. I was saying even before the marriage happens, even before, you know, they get married and a wife. Okay, baby. Okay. How you gonna hear me from back there? Guess you'll find out. Huh?
It's real life. We're in the middle of making a video.
I was gonna say.
She has to get back here and feed David.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the David, I'm talking. Oh, you're sweating, son. Back to what I was saying. Oh, even before two people get married, I think that sin, being unequally yoked, is probably a big reason that marriages. Yeah, excavator. A big reason that marriages fail is because the Bible says that believers are not supposed to be unequally yoked together with unbelievers, and you see that so often where it's either yes, excavator. You see either a believer and an unbeliever, or an almost believer and an unbeliever. And when I say almost believer, I mean somebody that's been, churched. They know the word of God. They know what the word of God says, and they still get with somebody that's not going to help them grow. They marry somebody that's going to pull them further and further away from the Lord. Say, for instance, say Kelson didn't marry me. Say he married somebody else that was not saved, but she knew what the word of God said. Because he's strong in the Lord and he's strong in the spirit, he could lead the unsaved wife to Christ. He could. And the Bible even says that, right? It said to how do you know, oh man, oh woman, that you how do you know that you're not going to save them? You might be able to do that. I'm not saying to go and marry somebody that's not saved. I'm just saying if that was the case, that it would be easier with somebody whose heart has been softened, and they want to be saved, versus somebody who's just faking the funk and they don't care. And maybe I shouldn't even talk about that in this video, but my point was, sin is a big reason for failed marriages. No matter how you slice it, whether it's adultery or it's fornication before y'all got married, or it's, pride, or, pornography, or, the wife doesn't want to be submissive. She wants to be the head. Sin is a very big cause of failed marriages. So that's my 2 cents. Okay, come here.
And there you have it. So it's getting kind of rowdy in here. So we're going to go ahead and close it out. Hopefully this will be one of many videos that we can do together, talking about marriages, relationships, and just different stuff. I know some of you said you wanted more videos like this in due time. So, hey, it worked your patience too. So I know some of you are like, hey, I need to hear some of this stuff. It really helped me, and that's what I pray, that these videos help you in your growth in the Lord Jesus Christ. So with that, God bless each and every one of you in Jesus Christ's name. As always, stay focused for Jesus. And as you know,
the truth is not debated, it is declared.
We out.
Because you say I am rich and increased with goods and am need of nothing. And no, you are wretched and miserable, poor, blind and naked. So then because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, Jesus said that he would spit you out of his mouth. Stop playing church. We become something else, something worse, something more like the world. Where is the church? We become something else, neither hot nor cold, but lukewarm, lukewarm. Jesus said, I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that you may be rich, clothed in white raiment to hide the shame of your nakedness. So then, because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, Jesus said that he would spit you out of his mouth. Stop playing church. We become something else, something worse, something more like the world. Where is the church? We become something else, neither hot nor cold, but lukewarm, lukewarm church. You say you a Christian, living like a child to hell. You a Christian, go to church, say the sinner's prayer. You a Christian, stay getting high, getting throwed, yeah. Monday through Saturday, anything go, yeah. Caught up in the world and left your first love. Jesus died in your place, he shed his precious blood. But you gotta be seen, pastor, apostle. Wake up, church, time to go and preach the gospel.